Hi there everybody, it's me, Gemma. How are you doing? This is my wrap up for January, in which I read 31 books. No, I don't know how I managed that one either. So I'm just going to go through them in order. I'll give my star rating, whether I'm going to continue on with the series, that sort of thing. So I started off the month with The Golden Thread, How Fabric Changed History by Cassie Sinclair. And this is a really excellent history of fabric. So it goes through from the sort of earliest extant garments that are found, how fabric was traded, how it was important to national economies. So for example, in Britain and Ireland, the importance of the wool trade. And then it also goes on to talk about modern sort of synthetic fabrics like nylon, rayon, and it has some really good practical talks about how those are used. So for example, travelling through the Antarctic or going into space. Like, did you know that Playtex made the spacesuit? I didn't know that, but this book went through that and it was really interesting. I gave it 5 stars and I highly recommend it if you are interested in history of fashion or fabric. And then I read The Lost City of the Monkey God by Douglas Preston, and this one is a non-fiction account of a group looking for some large archaeological sites in Honduras and how they use LiDAR, which is a type of radar, to look for the sites, and how they're using LiDAR in Central America and South America in general because of the canopies in South and Central America. It's been hard to do aerial photography of them. In places like Egypt or even the UK, you can go up into the sky in a plane or a helicopter and probably see the outlines of archaeological sites, but that wasn't possible in South and Central America, so they were using LiDAR. So it has a good technical explanation of why LiDAR is a good tool, and also a pretty good, you know, account of going into the sort of jungles to look for this. I did have a problem with, and I always have a problem with these narratives of, you know, the white man going to look for the lost city, blah blah blah, and I always have a problem with that, but it wasn't too obvious in this. And I have to say, from the stories, I would not go anywhere near the Honduran jungle, considering the size of the snakes. Just no good for me. Not good. So then I gave that one 3 stars because I thought it was interesting, but I really wanted to know more about the actual site itself. So then I moved on to Phenyl Girls by Riley Sager, and this is a thriller about Phenyl Girls. And if you don't know the term Phenyl Girls, it's the normally female, well, it is the female survivor of a horror film, so like a Laurie Strode or a Sidney Prescott in Scream. So in this, there are 3 particular women who have been designated as Phenyl Girls by the press because they were unfortunately involved in mass killings or massacres. And basically it's about this one particular Phenyl girl who is trying to live her life. She's doing her best, she's not doing amazing, but then this other girl comes into her life and sort of everything tumbles from there. The sort of life and walls that she'd built don't last very long. So after Phenyl Girls, which I, by the way, gave 3 stars because I thought it was okay, it didn't particularly make me want to move on and read any more Riley Sager. I read it because it was on sale and everyone kept saying Lock Every Door was really good. So I probably will still pick up Lock Every Door, but if I don't like that, I'm not going to keep on reading Riley Sager because I wasn't a massive fan. Then I read Protect the Prince by Jennifer Estep. This was number 2 in a series. I really like this series. It's about a princess. She's not a princess at the start. It's about a member of a royal family who becomes the only surviving member of that royal family when there's a massacre, and she has to save the kingdom, you know, as it goes. The first book in the series is called Kill the Queen, and this one, as I say, is called Protect the Prince. There's a third one, I believe, which is called Crush the King, which is coming out in April, and I will definitely be picking it up. I really enjoyed the characters. I thought really enjoyed the characters. I thought the magic system was quite refreshing, and I really liked the side characters, especially the ogre side characters. So really enjoyed that. And then I read Wicked King and Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. If you've been on BookTube, I don't think I really need to explain these books to you. It starts off with The Cruel Prince, which I read way back last year and gave 4 stars. Finally got around to reading these two. And it's about a set of twins, Jude and Taryn, whose mother and father are killed by their sister's dad, and he takes them away to Fairyland, and they have to do the rest of their growing up there. I won't spoil anymore, but if you've been on BookTube, you probably know the plot of the Folk of the Air trilogy. I gave The Wicked King 4 stars, and I gave Queen of Nothing 5 stars. I really liked the ending of Queen of Nothing, and yeah, I would read more stories by Holly Black, and I probably will pick up her other fairy books. So then, what did I read next? I read The Queen of Ephleria by Effie Calvin, and this is a really nice story. It was a female-female romance set in a fantasy world where this princess has been brought up, always knowing she's going to marry this prince of another country, so she's basically been brought up to be queen of that country, but the prince unfortunately is killed in an accident, and she then becomes engaged to his sister instead, and his sister is now the heir. She really doesn't want to be the heir, but she finds herself falling for the princess, and it's a very nice romance, and I highly recommend it. I gave that one, as I say, 4 stars. Then I read Next Girl to Die by Dee Poirier, and this one I actually had to look back at the summary for because I could not remember what it was about. It was just that forgettable, and it's about a woman returning home to her home island after years away. Her sister was murdered, they never caught who did it, she left home, etc, etc. She comes back when there's a new sort of fresh murder in town, and the police ask for her help. It wasn't bad, it wasn't good, it was just fine. I gave it 3 stars. Would I recommend it? Well, it was free on Kindle Unlimited, so if you've got a bit of time to kill, maybe give it a read, but I wouldn't go out my way to buy it. Then I read Unspeakable Things by Jess Lowry, and I picked this one up because it was being advertised on the front page of Kindle, you know, when you have your Kindle asleep, and it was fine. Again, not good, not bad, gave it 3 stars. But this one is set in the sort of Midwest around the sort of late 70s, early 80s, and it follows a young girl and her sister. The author mentioned the Jacob Wetterling case as having a real impact on her and how she wrote this book, but in all honesty, I really didn't feel that at all when I was actually reading it. It focused really on the girl and her sister, and while her dad was awful and just put him in the bin in the sea, I didn't think it had much to do with Jacob Wetterling at all, and I just, yeah, it was fine. Again, 3 stars. I seem to have given a lot of things 3 stars this month. So then my first 5-star book of the month was Dreadnought by April Daniels, and this one is an Own Voices trans rep book, and it is also about superheroes, and it is great. I highly recommend it. It's about a girl called Dani. She's trans, she's still not out to her family and friends, and one day while she is out and about, the superhero Dreadnought falls down in front of her, dies, and passes on his powers to her. Now her body changes into her ideal body, which, you know, outs her against her will. She is very suddenly a girl to everyone as well as being one herself, and it had a really good sort of B plot about the supervillain, and it also had some great great supporting characters. I really liked her best friend. I wanted to punch her mum and her dad a lot. I will move on and read Sovereign, which is already out. And as I say, I gave this one 5 stars. I thought it was really good. If you like My Hero Academia or the movie Sky High, actually, you will probably like Dreadnought. Go and give it a read. Then I read, no difference at all, The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. Now, this is another one that pops up all the time on the front page of my Kindle Unlimited, and I was like, do you know what? Yeah, okay, let's. And this one is very like the film The Orphan, if you've ever seen that, where a couple adopt a child that they don't have a lot of information on the background of, and it all goes horrendously wrong. Now, again, I gave this one 3 stars. And the reason for that is that this could have been a really amazing thriller, but the dad in it, I could have punted him into next week. He was so thick and so annoying. Like, literally, all the stuff that was happening, and he was still like, no, I'm sure it's fine. I was just like, I cannot with this guy, just cannot. And I saw the twist coming a mile away, and I found it quite frustrating. So it could have been great, but it wasn't. And then I started Bunny by Mona Awad. I got about halfway through and I DNF'd it because I just didn't like it. I don't mind a bit weird. I know this was Books and Lala's favourite, but it was too weird for me in some ways. I didn't like anyone, and it wasn't for me. So I didn't finish it. So I then moved on to The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter, and this one is about quite a, I'm not going to say a typical Karen Slaughter plot, but once you've read quite a few of her books, you do tend to recognise some of the tropes and plots that she likes to use. And this one is about a family. Their lives are changed forever after there is an act of violence in their house. The 2 sisters grow up and grow apart. One of them stays in the hometown where they're from, and one of them moves away. As with everything, things cannot be left to lie. There are, in this case, I believe there's another act of violence, but it's a school shooting this time. Be warned, it does happen on the page in this book, if that's something that you don't want to read. And then it kind of follows the 2 sisters sort of coming back together, and the sort of secrets about what happened that night coming back to them. It was good. I gave it 3 stars. Again, it was fine. It was Karen Slaughter. If you like her books, you'll like that. I told you I gave it a lot of 3 stars this month. See, to me, 1 star is like, I found this book actively offensive and I hated it. 2 is, it wasn't actively offensive, but I did not like it. 3 is, it was fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was okay. 4 is, I really liked it, but it wasn't a 5-star amazing. And 5 stars obviously is this. I loved this book. So then I read The Reddening by Adam Neville. Now, you may have seen The Ritual, which I believe is on Netflix. The movie is based on an Adam Neville novel, which is why I picked this one up, because he writes sort of folk horror, and this one was definitely in that vein. It's about a town who are on the coast of England, and someone who is caving, he discovers a set of caves that have previously not been excavated, and when they excavate them they find that they're full of sort of a mix of human and animal bone, that there's been cannibalism, and there's mysterious burials, there's people who paint themselves red and are seen near the site. It's all that stuff. It's very like if the Wicker Man like came into the 21st century and had a millennial baby. That is The Reddening. And I really liked the characters in it. I liked the sort of mythology of it. I thought it was really good, and I would recommend giving it a go if you like a bit of horror. So then I moved on. I read another Karen Slaughter, and this one was Pieces of Her. This one is another one of the standalone novels. It doesn't go into the Will Trent or Grant County series, and this one is about a woman who's out having lunch with her mum when someone comes into dinner and attacks them. Her mum sort of ninjas this person and kills him, and it sets off these chain of events that she realises she really doesn't know her mum. In fact, does anyone know her mum? And it's also told in flashbacks. So really good. Again, I gave it 3 stars because it was fine, but hey. So then I read, let me see, Cuckoo by Sophie Reaper, and this was another Kindle Unlimited one, and it was fine, but I did have some real problems with it. In fact, I think on reflection, I might knock this one down to a 2-star because I didn't like any of the characters in it. I thought the plot was really contrived, and yeah, I just didn't like it. I'm not going to go into it too much, but yeah, just don't bother with that one. So then another 2-star was Phantom Limb, again by Lucinda Berry. I read 2 or 3 of hers this one, and this one was about a woman who, she is sort of re-traumatized by, she thinks her twin has died, or her twin commits suicide, and she's put into a psychiatric hostel. And as the book goes on, you find out that her and her twin were abused really badly, and they were sort of taken away from their mum and adopted by this other couple. So they were very different as they grew up, and one of them seemed to really thrive and sort of move on, and the other one didn't thrive or move on. And that's about this story. I saw the twist coming about 10 miles away, so I wasn't really shocked when it happened. Otherwise I think you would be like, ooh, spicy. But I wouldn't bother. It's not very good. Then I read another Lucinda Berry. This is where my sadomasochism comes in, because I kept reading her books because there was just like a slight flavour of something that I would really enjoy, like the fucked upness. I like, let's see, that Karen Slaughter mode of really fucked up things. I like that in a book, but these always seemed to, and I'll talk about this in another one of hers, always seemed to just pull a punch, and I just didn't like that. So there. So Saving Noah is about a woman who finds out that her son confesses to her that he molested a couple of little girls that he was teaching swimming, and it sort of follows the sort of ripple effect of that through the family, and how she is trying to sort of help him, but he can't be helped because he's a paedophile, and stuff happens from there. I didn't like it. I thought it was, I don't know, I just don't think we need sympathetic paedophile characters. I don't think that's something we really need in books. And yeah, if I was Lucinda Berry's, I mean, supposedly she's a psychiatrist who deals specifically in childhood trauma. I would not want her treating either me or my children at all. No offence, Lucinda Berry, but no. And the last one, I think I've read all her books now, but was Appetite for Innocence, again by Lucinda Berry. And the reason I picked this one up was because in the blurb it said if you liked The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchison, you would probably like this, because it's got quite a similar starting plot where a girl's kidnapped and held hostage by a rich pervert who has other girls he's holding hostage. But it goes far more into a lot of stuff about like Stockholm syndrome and things like that. And to be honest, I'm going to say a spoiler here, the main baddie of the book turns out to be not just him, but also one of the other girls he's kidnapped, and I just felt like it was, I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me. So I gave that one 2 stars as well. Did not like it. In fact, you know what? That one's 1 star. The more and more I think about it, I'm always trying to be nice, but that one gets 1 star. 1 star? 1 star. And then I moved on to more Kindle Unlimited thrillers. I read The Drowned Girls by Laura White. And this one is the start of a series called the Angie Palladino series. Set in Canada, it's about a female police officer who of course has a dark past, don't they all? And basically it starts off with that trope of we had a one night stand and now you're my new boss, which I thought was kind of different and I liked that, but the actual murders and mysteries themselves, they were very formulaic and they were fine. I'm going to say fine so many times in this video, so if you want a drinking game or you're going to get bloated, probably take a drink every time I say the word fine. So it was fine. And it goes on in, I believe, another 2 or 3 books, but I'm not going to read them because they just didn't knock my socks off, and quite frankly, I can't be bothered. So I also read A Dark Lure by Laura White, and this I believe is a duo. It's 2 parts so far, but I thought it was a standalone when I originally read it. And this one I actually enjoyed. It's about a woman who was kidnapped and held hostage for 5 months, but she escaped and she's moved away and changed her name and she's living on a ranch. It's actually quite like, you know, the sort of silhouette thriller novels, romances, if you used to get them, a bit darker than those, but kind of like that, where it does have a good romance in it. And when I went and looked up the author, she actually writes romances as well, so that made sense. So I read that, I gave it 3 stars. No, sorry, I gave that one 4 stars. Yeah, gave that one 4 stars because I actually really liked it. I liked the characters. Will I read the next one? No, I can't be bothered. And then I read Bosch, How to Live Vegan by Henry Firth and Ian Thiesby, I believe. There we go, there's a bit more light. So my husband is terrified that I'm going to go completely vegan, and he's probably right to be afraid at this moment in time because, oh, my dog's slipping. She's wagging her tail and knocking the camera. It's because, quite frankly, I've been eating a lot of vegan food and my cholesterol's been high. I'm going to do away with, yes, hello Leah, do away with quite a lot of dairy. So I read this, but I honestly gave it 2 stars because while it had good advice in it, it's nothing that you can't pick up from a blog or a YouTube channel. I honestly wouldn't pay for it. And I'm not normally one to advocate for that because I own like 2 shelves worth of cookbooks. I buy cookbooks, but this didn't have any recipes in it or anything. It was more just advice. And while I understand that that's in the cover, I just didn't think it was worth the money I paid for it. So, soz. Then, what did we read next? We read Lying Next to Me by Greg Olson, and this was true crime. It was a story of a woman who was an awful old bitch, and she abused her 3 daughters with complacency from her husbands, and also there was 2 murders as well. 2. Yeah, 2. 3 murders. It was a pretty interesting story, not one that I had come across before. If you like true crime, it's quite a quick read. As I say, it wasn't one that I had come across before, and because I read quite a lot of true crime television, it's unusual for me to come across stories that I haven't heard. So this one was pretty good, gave it 3 stars. It was free in Kindle Unlimited, give it a Bosch. So then this one got to me. I finally read The Shepherd's Crown by Terry Pratchett. And I talked about this before in a 5-star predictions video, and also about books that I've been avoiding. And the reason for this was because it was the last Discworld book that Terry Pratchett wrote before he died. Tiffany Aching and Sam Vines are my favourite Discworld characters. Discworld characters. This one centres around Tiffany. She is a young witch, and at the very, I'm not going to spoil it because I think if you're going to read the Tiffany Aching books, you should do it, especially if you've got young kids. I think you'll really enjoy it. Like middle grade, I would say the series is. just before they sort of head into YA, like maybe 10, 11, 12, that kind of age. And there was a death, a character death at the beginning in this book that I was not expecting because I had not read any spoilers. And between that character and thinking about Terry Pratchett, I actually got a bit upset. But oh my god, I loved it. Gave it 5 stars. Just Tiffany Aching books are the Discworld books of my heart, and I don't think Terry Pratchett will ever be equalled or surpassed. New Sir Terry. That's all I have to say about that. Then I read what has started off to be, I think it's going to be a new favourite series. I read Defy the Stars by Claudia Gray and really love this one. It's kind of reminds me about a bit like Skyward in a way, where it's about a young woman called Noemi Vidal who she has volunteered to be part of a suicide mission called the Marsada Run, and in the lead up to that mission, she tries to save her friend and boards a derelict ship. And on board this derelict ship is an AI, an android called Able. And Able is the most advanced android ever made. And they go on a journey together to try and help her planet Genesis. And the story is basically Noemi coming to see him as that he has a soul. He's not human, but he has a soul. He's a person. And his own consciousness sort of moving and branching out and talking about how he becomes sentient or is more sentient than he was. Really enjoyed this one. I've given it 4 stars. I've got the next 2 books waiting to be read, and hopefully I'll give the rest of them high star values as well because they're really, really sweet. So then another 5-star read for me was The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Kowal, and this one is subtitled The Lady Astronauts series. It's an amazing sci-fi about lady astronauts, but basically set in I think like the 50s when a meteor hits just off the coast of America. The world begins to heat up, there's really bad weather, the stars, the sky's full of like cloud and ash, and they really have to accelerate the space program, and they're going to try and colonize space. And the main character, she's amazing. She's one of the lady computers, but she also wants to be an astronaut, and that is the story. I love it. I think everyone should read it. If you liked Hidden Figures, you would really like this, but I also recommend reading Hidden Figures because Black Lady Excellence, we would never have got to the moon without them. But yeah, if you liked that, you'll probably like this as well. And the main character is Jewish and also suffers from anxiety. There are Black lady characters as well. The author doesn't shy away from talking about a bit of racism, but also from the point of view of someone who might never have noticed it had it not been pointed out to them, because while they're dealing with their own specific kind of prejudice, it becomes intersectional. It's really good. That's why I gave it 5 stars. And I've got the next one to read on my old Kindle. And then, oh my god, I've only got 2 left. This video is like half an hour long already. Sorry. So finally, I read Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. Now, I gave both of these books 4 stars because they are good. I'm not gonna lie. The world building, fabulous. The magic system, excellent. Most of the characters, amazing. But, it has my least favourite trope where, spoilers for the Grisha books, where the main character who is very powerful gives up their power for whatever reason, or it's taken away from them, or it's the same as in Carry On, where it turns out that he's not actually a magician or whatever. You're just like, what? I mean, I didn't want Alina to necessarily, end up with Darkling or anything. I wasn't expecting that. But, God, did I hate Mal. I hate him a lot. And another trope that I hate is the sort of boy next door character who has ignored the main character or love interest for their whole lives, and then all of a sudden when they move away or become powerful or something, they want the old person that they had back and whatever. Hated Mal, hated the ending, but they are still good books. I'll read Six of Crows, I'll read Crooked Kingdom, and I'll read King of Scars because, like everyone seems to have done, I really liked Nikolai. So yeah, that was the 31 books I read in January. Will I read the same amount in February? Probably not, but we will see. So my Goodreads goal is 150. So I think it's safe to say I'll probably get there. So let me know what you thought of any of these books down below. Do you agree with how I rated them? Did you enjoy them the way I did? And yeah, just chat below. See you later. Bye.